What's up, everyone? Today we have a little bit different kind of a video. One I wasn't really sure if I was gonna make, and honestly I've been maybe a little bit dreading, but since I've been covering Apex exclusively for almost 4.5 years, I think it's fair to give you all a quick update as to my content's future. I know a lot of other creators have made videos stating they are quitting, so am I quitting Apex Legends? Well, honestly, the answer is kind of in between. I don't like giving absolute answers. It is good to take breaks from games, but I can pretty much say for a certain my coverage of Apex is gonna begin to dwindle. Emphasis on the word begin though. I'll go over my content plans later, but I just cannot cover Apex like I used to anymore. Once you get to the point where I am covering the game for 4+ years, there's not a ton I can really explore without repeating topics, which I just don't really want to do anymore. Some things like tier lists are still cool to do for a fun moment or snapshot of the Apex meta and Apex in time, but they aren't really my end goal with my content. While I think Apex is still really awesome and a little fun to play, core mechanics are incredible. No game feels as good to move and shoot in my opinion, of course, but the lack of content, new content, is just really obvious. As someone who treats my channel almost like a business, but not for my money, but for my free time and creative freedom, I cannot waste time trying to cover a game that just simply does not update itself. It rarely fixes long lingering issues and just forces an insane amount of monetization upon us where I just don't really want to deal with it anymore. The problems with Apex Legends were long before Season 23, but it's clear that Season 23 was a massive breaking point for a lot of the Apex community. I knew even before the season launched that we were in trouble due to little to no talks or hype of the new season. The fact that we couldn't even talk about the new season until a couple hours before pretty much just gave me all the information I needed as to what we were going to be getting during this winter. But straight up, Apex has been making some really bad decisions for the past year or two. It started with the rank changes for me in season 16, 17, I think it was. Then it went into matchmaking's continual issues, which has been a long-standing problem. The lack of new legends and weapons over the past 2 to 3 years, the lack of map adjustments, 2 years to get a new map, and then they remove it just a season later to put it in the back burner for half a season. We then have the new season with Rift Relics, which make all of their weapon balancing pretty much pointless. We're promised a new weapon of the EPG when the season comes out, and it doesn't come out till halfway through the season. And then we of course do have the support class changes just being absolutely OP, which makes pretty much 22 to 23 of the 26 legends just pointless to play. This season is like a microcosm of all those problems that we have been having for the past 2 to 3 years. Cheaters are of course also a problem, but as an Xbox primarily player, I just don't really have this cheating problem many have, but I do know it is an issue. For me and my channel, I have mostly steered clear of negativity, but being critical is important. And I do know a fair amount of people at Respawn, and honestly, anyone I have ever interacted with that company has been absolutely wonderful to deal with. So I will say shout out to them. They are great people over there. I just think some of the people above them, the people that are making the decisions, just really are not locked in with what the community wants. I've given feedback directly, made videos, and for me, again, I'm just over it at this point. If you want a more expanded video on what Apex is doing wrong, I posted one a few weeks ago. I would go check that out. If we go down memory lane with a little channel history, I never intended to cover Apex Legends for as full time as I have over the past few years. I always wanted to make videos, even when I was in high school in the late 2000s. Just never really had the time between school, then college, then work and life. COVID gave me the opportunity to make videos, and I knew back then if I didn't do it now, I pretty much would just never do it. But for me, I always wanted to make videos on my lifelong favorite games. I played a lot of Destiny, I played a lot of Halo, Battlefield, Call of Duty, but these games for me have not delivered at all over the past 3 to 4 years, which means I've kind of just stuck it out with Apex Legends. I started making videos in June of 2020, and for the first 2 to 3 years, I went incredibly hard. My original goal was just to pay off for my wedding and have fun making videos. Honestly, I had the original goal, if I could make like $100 a month for making content, that would be awesome, and that skyrocketed out, went beyond my wildest expectations. So I really bunkered in and focused hard on what I wanted to do. But after I got married in September 2022, as soon as my wedding happened, I told myself I was going to start posting less. I was missing some things. I didn't have as much free time as I really needed, and I just didn't want to miss out on those things anymore. And I also knew that you can't really grow a channel without sacrifice. So I did it for 2+ years, knowing one day I could take it a little bit easier. And that's kind of the mode I've been in for the past 2 years. Either way though, after I got married back in September of 2022, I still have just covered Apex pretty much exclusively, but if you have noticed, my frequency has been much less for really my own sanity. If we fast forward 2 years later, now it's the end of 2024, and once you cover something for as long as I have, it does get pretty rough on the mental, constantly thinking of educational tips, ways to teach, and so on, but the game isn't being updated, so it gets really difficult. So I do need a little change in my coverage of my content on my channel. I used to post 3 videos a week when I first started, It was awesome. It was fun. Again, I was learning things. The game was also a blast back then, and there was a lot of new content getting pushed out into the game, and that has slowly dwindled over the past few years. Most of my friends have moved on and solo queue with the matchmaking and just messing around in pubs. If you haven't tried this, it really just can't be done. You have to play the meta unless you are basically a pro player. And for me, the biggest thing is Apex just is not enjoyable. After working 8 hours at my day job, tending to home stuff, spending time with my wife, my cat, if I want to play games for a couple hours, sweating my ass off in Apex Legends, I just really can't do it anymore. The past couple of years mentally for me has been pretty tough. Like, I want to post more, but I'm not really sure what to post on. I don't want to just push out garbage, but of course, when the game isn't being updated, I started to repeat topics, which I really don't like doing. It's been tough to pivot and abandon what has made me thrive. Like, I don't want to just abandon Apex because it has made me and what my channel is. So I mostly kind of continue to just stay in my own lane. And as I started to post less, I went for quality content. Quality content has always been what I have really been all about. When I first started making videos on Apex, I felt like a lot of people were just going to the firing range and talking about things. I wanted to bring a little bit more production quality into my content. And I think this is what has been really making me stand out over the other Apex creators. I think I've put a little bit more thought into noting and scripting, making sure I get good clips that are showing what I'm actually talking about. I feel like a lot of people were not doing that before I started making videos. But with me making less content, I started to look deeper into analytics, because when you make less content, each content that you make, it needs to do better because you need the content still to pull in viewership. And as I started to go on, I would look into analytics, view counts, engagement. And I think as I have done this, I've forgotten a little bit of what is the point of me making content. So I just want to get back to making videos that I like. It's not my job, thank goodness. I do want to still create high quality content, but I do need to bring it down a few levels so I can just get the content posted. I don't want to push out garbage. I just need less mental barriers for me to get to posting my videos. I have thought about hiring editors and a team, but for me, that is part of the creative process, and I don't want to just outsource what I think is a pretty fun thing with making videos. So specifically for my content future, what am I going to be doing? I don't really like giving absolutes. I'm not going to be necessarily quitting Apex, but you will see a gradual decrease in coverage and playtime on my channel. I really can't stand when people just straight up say they're quitting. Honestly, we know they're coming back if there's some sort of huge update and the game starts popping off again. So I will always leave that door open. I'm still gonna play the game. I'm not really diving deep into a second channel. I know a lot of other people have been doing this lately. I can barely post consistently on one channel, so splitting my attention into 2 channels or just straight up starting to post only to a second channel, I just don't think it's something that I really want to do. And especially since for now, I am gonna stay in the educational niche, and my channel is not gonna really change in terms of content type. I still want to post educational videos and help people improve in their games. So I am still going to be covering shooters and like hero games. I don't really want to cover like some third-person action RPG. There's a lot of other channels that do that. I don't think that's really for me. Those aren't the games that really get me excited either. As for what games I am going to cover though, I'm not quite sure. Marvel Rivals does have my eyes, but honestly, I don't know if it's really for me. I was never really a big Overwatch player. I have loved the game. I have maybe 20 hours on the game, but I'm not really sure in terms of content. I'm not one to just hop on the hype train and grind a game for the content that it has and get those views and money. I don't really have the time to flip-flop around and make half-baked educational content, so this does make kind of flip-flopping games a little difficult. My real job prevents me playing as much as I would need to cover these games in the way that I want to. I don't per se need the money my channel brings in either, which does feel really weird to say, as I never really had that much money growing up. In college, I think I had something like $9 to my name at one point, so I'm fully aware of what it means to say this. This does, however, really free me up to make the decisions based on what I want to do, not what I need to do to support my family or payments and that type of thing. I think a lot of younger folks don't really understand this. A lot of people, I think, will see a gamer playing a game they don't really like to play, and they'll just say, play what you want to play, you know, the views will come. But when in reality, that's a very naive and young way to look at things. Like, you can't just make content on games that really aren't going to get viewership as a full-time creator, because you literally won't be able to eat or, you know, live in a house or wherever you want to live. So ultimately, I'll continue to cover new Apex content drops with the meta changes and live streams, but outside of those first few weeks of an Apex season, I don't expect myself to really play or cover Apex that much. I'm going to be covering a lot of variety. I'm looking at Marvel Rivals. I'm looking at Fragpunk. If Halo ever makes a comeback, I would love to post some videos on Halo, maybe Battlefield, Perfect Dark, Call of Duty, Splitgate. Also, I need to play other games. I don't know if I've ever been as in tune with the game as I have with Apex for as long as I have. I can think back in my gaming history, I've always played like one game a lot, but never for the duration, almost 6 years exclusively like I have with Apex. Maybe going down my history of FPS games would be something fun to do someday. Let me know if you would like to see that. For the immediate future though, coming up in January of 2025, February, March, and so on, I have almost completed my full Apex Legends queue of videos that I have planned or scripted. Some of these videos I did decide to scrap, but since I was moving, I am a little late covering some things on Apex Legends Season 23. I have a few Marvel Rivals shorts planned, so we will test the waters with that. And then I do expect to try out some full-length videos on Rivals with the new Apex season in February, and then I want to try Fragpunk when that launches in March. After March though, we're going to see how things are progressing. Content, unfortunately, may be a little less consistent over the next few months. I am studying to become a registered architect. If you didn't know, that is what I do during the day. It's a pretty intense process. I need to take 6 exams. The exams are like 3 to 5 hours long each. There's a lot of studying I have to do, and it has been a goal of mine since I've been like 6 or 7 years old. So I do want to give this my best shot. Let me know your thoughts on Apex down below in the comments, and if you want me to cover any specific games, drop a comment. I'm totally down for new ideas. I hope you do have a wonderful day. Happy gaming, legends.